Okay, so good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our Forex in Heels edition. I think we've done maybe, I think 9 or 10 weeks consecutively. It's exciting. We are so happy to be here and we thank you for always tuning in. Some of you are here before the hour. It's 2 minutes past the hour and of course, you guys are already on board. So karibuni sana. So as always, you guys know that, okay, first of all, my name is Lilian Okado, for those who don't know me. And also we know that these sessions are just usually for helping us to build our mindset. So many of us are in this industry called network marketing, and we are also doing, we're also in the Forex or the financial markets where we trade Forex, crypto, binary. And it's an amazing journey, but it's also one of those journeys where you need to keep on consistently building your belief, your mindset. And the reason why I say belief is also because many people don't believe that they can become millionaires with Forex, for example, or the industry that we're in. So that's why we are here. And to kick us off on this week is we are still continuing from our previous chapter because the last week's chapter was very, very long. So we split it into two and we probably will wrap up this evening. And we'll not take too much of your time. We hope to keep to the half-hour mark. If not, maybe we'll extend by a few minutes. But thank you once again. And yeah, so I want to introduce my friend and my business partner, Shiro, my partner in crime on this Forex in Heels edition, where we just want to empower Africa and beyond in Forex. So Shiro will kick us off and she will begin. Remember, we are reading Napoleon Hill's book, and I believe we're in chapter 9. So Shiro, just take it away. First of all, let me just also, before she starts, let me just say this. Shiro is a phenomenal woman. She's a woman of God. She's very brilliant, very, very disciplined. If you want somebody who will keep you on track when you're veering to the other direction, Shiro is the person. Very dedicated at what she does. No nonsense. She hits it like it's, tells you straight. So if you are in this industry and you want someone who's, woye woye, Shiro might not be the person, but you just know that her truth is genuine and she just wants to build you and help you grow in the industry. She also has a very long background and successful background in the property development industry. She was working at Westgate as a deputy property manager. So if you ever went to Westgate, just know she had a big, nice office there. And now she's doing Forex with us and of course, leading us in this mentorship call this evening. So I'll just hand it over to Shiro. Shiro, asante sana, go ahead. Karibu, karibu.
Wow, thank you very much, Lilo. I love you to death and my goodness, I'm just super blessed to be doing this with you. So ladies on the call, and I see one gentleman, so Sana. So yeah, like of course my business partner says, today we are looking at the last chapters of course, the last chapters of organized planning, and I'll just dive into it. We'll keep it very brief, very fast. So just take a few notes, then of course we'll just keep discussing. So today we'll be talking about some fields in which leadership will be required. Remember, in this chapter, we've been talking a lot about leadership, the attributes, what should you have a leader, what shouldn't you have. So again, now what Napoleon Hill actually talks about 6 sectors that, of course, that new opportunities for new leaders are coming up. And the first one is of the politics. Ladies and gentlemen, look at the American, look at the political world in US, who actually dominates that. The 5 percenters that we keep talking about in the 4-way cash flow. These guys influence a lot of course, decisions that are made in the political world. So of course, as we are nurturing ourselves as we need to again to understand, once we become in terms of business owners. Can you imagine if we hit those ranks of chairman 750? My goodness, you walk into Uhuru's office and say, no, I have a say in this. This is what, and the guy is going to listen. Man, you're clocking in 75 meter. A guy had better us, okay? So again, also another sector that we also look at in terms of course improving is of course the banking sector. Can you imagine now once we become leaders in of course in our different forums, we're even actually able to even like our guys in terms of like the mortgage loans, in terms of the interest rates, because I am so sure the 5% who make the economy move, I'm sure they have some say in this. Think of Akina Chris Kirubi. I mean, don't you think he's able to actually sit down those guys of CBK and actually talk about all these things? Then of course the third one is the industry calls for new leaders in terms of like the I mean, in the business industry, of course, where they are like the labor laws, are our business partners in wherever we are working, are they being subjected to any kind of mistreatment? Remember now, when you become a leader and you have the attributes that we talked about, you'll have a lot of influence, of course, in the industry backbone of the economy. You of course believe it. I know personally I'm a Christian, so of course as a religious leader, you know, if you could please mute.
Like in our group, I saw there's someone who made 35.
Thank you, Lillian. Thank you very much. So, of course, I mean, if you don't have the attributes we talked about, I don't see you even leading anything in church or whatever. So remember again, and I'm so sure everyone who was on last week's call, this is making a lot of sense, because I mean, if you remember what we need to be as a leader and what not to be, is going to dictate if you're, I mean, in the sense, do you think you'll become a leader in the long run? And remember, even if you're not a leader in your own home, and we keep saying, I don't think you can also lead us in the religious front. Then again, in the professions of law, medicine, you know, how do you apply the knowledge that you have learned? You don't just, you don't just, of course, read about medicine, you have to apply it. Okay, so again, no, Napoleon Hill is very he's very categorical on these places of leadership. So basically, that is where, again, we are told in the book that needs a lot of our leadership skills. So again, and remember, we keep saying in the presentation, what will you become? So right now, we have us on a call. Do you think with our leadership skills or what we are learning, do you think to make impact, of course, in these sectors that we have actually talked about? Again, now today we are also going to speak about how to, of course, get the position that you exactly desire. Because remember, again, something else, I think we did the second chapter, which was covered by Lilo, and it talks kabisa about desire. So again here, again under organized planning, a subtopic is how to get the position that you desire. Everyone enjoys doing the kind of work for which he's best suited. Remember, if you're a good like speaker, are you doing like motivational talks? Are you talking to people? If you're a good cook, I mean, are you going to apply for a job probably for being a chef or whatever? So the first thing you need to know when you want to get the position you desire, and this again, no, let's get out of our box of self-employment or whatever, even assuming we're looking for a job, or as in like later in life you want to, for example, have what can I say, a hotel in Santorini, for example, as a leader. So what position do you exactly desire? So the first thing you need to know as a professional, decide exactly what kind of a job you want. And if the job does not already exist, perhaps you need to create it. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know who of you on this call watches this series that comes, I think it's even available on YouTube. It's called Shark Tanks. My goodness, the way those kids of 2021 think, like there's a series I was watching, actually a couple came up with, you know, like how you're doing your laundry, like in a machine, and you put in socks and then they keep getting lost. They actually came up with a clip on how to actually put the clip together to make sure that the socks don't get lost. Okay, so they have actually created something that, and at some point, these guys are going to get employment. Number two, choose the company or individual you wish to work for. Again, we just can't be all over the place. You have to exactly say, okay, today, for example, I want to work for Google, for example. So you have to identify, because remember, once you have the desire, again, you have the plan. So you plan to work for whatever organization you want to work with. You want to work with Safaricom, you want to work with Google, it doesn't matter, or Microsoft. Number three, study your prospective employer and look, of course, at their at their policies. Do you agree with their company policies? Like, for example, for me, I mean, working for an Israeli, my goodness, those guys, I think, have the most steepest policies that can ever, I don't even think there's any other corporation that has those kind of policies. So again, when you're becoming a leader and doing your own organization, again, when people are looking at your company, are you looking at your policies? Are you a person that is good to work with? Are there chances of advancement in that organization? Okay. Number 4, by analysis of yourself, what can you offer? What can you offer this company? Okay, for example, you want to be a chef. Are you the person who walks into the kitchen probably like at 6 a.m. or you're making things burn in the kitchen or whatever? So basically you have to, by the time you're looking for what you want to do, you have to do a self-analysis and decide, yes, I can do this, so I am able to actually work with, of course, an empire towards, of course, what it is that I want to do. Number 5, forget about a job. Forget that, forget whether or not there's an opening. Forget the usual routine of you have a job. Concentrate on what you give. Forget not that now I'm employed, I have a job, but what do you have to offer? What is that extra thing that, anyway, like if Sharon left that organization, they would feel that pang of, oh my goodness, there's a dent that Sharon actually left. So it's sometimes not even about the job, but Napoleon Hills makes it very clear what we are able to offer as a person. Number 6, once you have a plan in mind, arrange with an experienced person on how you're able to, of course, do what it is that you've applied for or you want to do. Like, I mean, like in organization, we keep saying there are those people who have been in the industry over a long period of time. Are we talking to them? Are they mentoring us? Are we looking at their fine prints? Are we seeing them? They are reading? Are we doing what they're doing? So basically, this is what the 6 points talks about. Number 7, present it to the proper person with authority. This just generally says when, of course, you are applying for whatever you're applying, you have to give, of course, your credentials to the person who does what, who is the one who is going to say yes or no. You're not just going to give it to maybe a PA really who has no authority over the organization. So basically that's what the book tells us. And another thing, like Napoleon Hill talks about the book, this is a book, honestly, guys, if you're able to get it, this is a chapter that I know we are rushing through it because I know it's quite it's very informative, but we're not, if we don't move at it, then I don't think we'll be able to cover. But I would actually say that when you get some time, please go back to this and read clear print, because there's this chapter, I think, has 100 pages, if I'm not wrong. Then again, what we are also told in the industry, this is what we call QQS. QQS simply means quality, quantity, and spirit. Ladies and gentlemen, in any area of life, what quality of service are you giving? Quality. What quantity? Quantity again goes with habit. How are you presenting what you're doing? Like, for example, if not in this setting of I am, the quality presentations probably we are doing. If you onboard somebody, what quality are you giving them to ensure that the new members on board don't feel that they are left about? The quantity is actually tied to the habit. Is the way we onboarded Koi, the way we onboarded Flo, or is there a mishap? Are you able to feel that there is no seamless transition in the organization? Then again, spirit. How are you doing it? Is it from deep down, or are you being pushed by Uncle Meg? We know you have to do this. Can we feel our spirits actually working together as leaders? Can our new people feel actually, yes, this is where I belong, I'm being given the best service there is, there's a lot of harmony? And he actually says, again, with the spirit, also goes with a lot of, harmonious conduct. And again, this also brings down seamlessness. Is there a gap that we are feeling that would, I know, like, is I think the newest member on this call, is she feeling the way she was onboarded, now she's alone? Again, so basically what here we are taught, QQS rating, rate yourself, and please write this down. QQS means quantity, quality, and spirit. So basically those 3 things are actually going together. Okay, then of course what we want to talk about, and this, ladies and gentlemen, is so vital, and this is one place I think we'll spend a bit of time. Major causes of failure. How many of these things are holding you back? And this now, think about it and apply your setting. Because right now we are Forex traders and business owners, but what are we looking to become? And what is going to hold us back? So the first thing, and he says, life's greatest strategy consists of men and women who honestly try and fail. The tragedy lies in the overwhelming large majority of people who fail as compared to the few who succeed. Okay? So he actually says that as you go over the checklist, and this is something that you will analyze yourself, and that's why I'm saying this book is available, even I think on soft copy. Please go through it, because I know there are 30, so we'll rush through them. But these are I have read these points over, I think, 10 times. And the first one is unfavorable hereditary background. And what Napoleon says, there are those of us who are born probably, we don't choose the families we are born into. I mean, we can't say, me, I chose to be in a rich family. No, we just find ourselves just born. And you cannot choose your background. So again, and I remember in one of this call about the mastermind, and what Napoleon says, and Napoleon Hill says, as much as your background is not favorable, don't stay there and say, no, me, I'm from a poor family, I'll remain poor. You have mastermind group. Remember the group we said you have to be in. This is where they come in and elevate you. And remember the way we keep saying, you have to say you're going to break chains of. Like me personally, that's what I have said. If I've been from a poor background, the poverty ends with me. I'm not going to say because I was born in Yeri, there's nothing for me. No, that's why I have my mastermind. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, we really emphasized on that, because now again, Napoleon Hill says, let not your background be a reason for you not to progress. Say, no, me, my dad was like this. No, my dad was an alcoholic. No, my dad is a heavy smoker. No, I'm from a separated. Kill that. You have a mastermind group who are now supposed to elevate you. Number 2, lack a well-defined purpose in life. How many of us are walking aimlessly? No purpose in life. Like today, if some ask yourself, what's my purpose in this life? And you find that once you realize your purpose, you'll steer every day, every plan that you have towards that purpose. Number 3, lack of ambition to aim above mediocrity. Most of us are so average. And you know what, guys, I don't just keep mentioning Uncle Megwe because it's my uncle, but I don't know, most of us who talk to Uncle Megwe on a daily basis, like yesterday, he said something very, he says it's like a joke, but it makes a lot of sense. He says, if people are not doing personal development, when that person opens their mouth, you can tell. If somebody listens to personal development, like in a Bob Proctor, reading books, you're going to tell the difference. These guys are above that, they're above average. Why? Because they've gone that extra step. So even Napoleon Hill he has said, lack of ambition is one of the, that I think is the killer, major causes of failure as a person. Number 2, insufficient education. Ladies and gentlemen, and sometimes we keep saying, I didn't go to a good school. No, Lilo went to Rusinga. No, me, I went to Sijui Moinyeri Complex. Why are you blaming people? See, you can read books. So you can log on to YouTube. So why are you saying, my parents were poor, I didn't go to a nice school? So what happens? Are you going to sit there and sorry for yourself? No. So you have to again go further. If you are not able, we can't, not like now, I cannot go back to my dad and tell him, no, you finish paying for me campus. I need to get out of that and decide, no, I have to, of course, make it work. Because the fact that you don't have sufficient education, that is murder on its own, for sure. If you don't have education and if you're not applying it, you're on the way to the trenches, okay? And here we cannot blame anybody. Number 4, lack of self-discipline. Discipline comes through self-control. I don't know which book I was reading, and they kept saying, what you're doing when people are not watching actually defines you. You understand? So what discipline do you have, and what self-control do you have? And remember, we talked about anger issues, even as a leader. You start at you're getting upset over small issues. No. And I actually reading from this book, I didn't know discipline comes through self-control. I actually, this is not something that I have learned, and I thank God that we are reading this book together, because I'm also working on myself. And it goes to say, if you don't conquer yourself, if you do not conquer self, you will be conquered by yourself. Basically, if you don't discipline yourself, that lack of self-discipline is what is going to be your downfall. Number 6, ill health. No person may enjoy outstanding success without good health. And this reminds me of Lillian Okado. My goodness, Lilo is a health freak. And she's always alert. Lilo will do juices. She will do vegetarian. I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with eating meat or whatever. I also eat a lot of meat, but let's do it with moderation. Make sure we are eating well. Make sure we are drinking a lot of water. Again, Uncle Megwe comes here. I mean, my goodness, I've seen Uncle Megwe in another light. Okay, but I've seen what changing his diet has literally done. So basically, if your health is ill, you're going to fail. And I didn't know, because can you imagine? And I'll give an example, and please do not laugh. Like last week, we went to Mount Longonot, okay? But then I'm a very poor, my eating habits are really bad. I'm the kind of person who's going to snack. I'll be on juices, I'll be on soda. My goodness, my colleagues and my business partners on this call went, they did the hill like there is no tomorrow. I'm uko nyuma. Again, remember, in my own I'm a leader, but I was behind. Why? Because I'm not healthy. I don't walk. I don't exercise. And then to make matters worse, I got back to them and I said, can I please have soda? Uncle Megwe looked at me at this look of, why in God's name are you taking soda? Can you have water? Okay, just to make sure that your mind is right, okay? So basically, overeating foods is not good. You have to, again, exercise. You have to have good air. You have to walk. I mean, don't sit in the house. Like even me, like these days, at about 9-ish, I take a walk around my estate for like 30 minutes. Apparently, you need to take in that fresh air. It's fresh, so you need to take it up. Number 7, unfavorable environment influencing during childhood. Again, this goes back. There's that saying that the apple does not fall very far from the tree. I mean, we pick up what our surrounding is, but again, it is not an excuse of you saying, I came out from an alcoholic home. No, it doesn't mean because, if, for example, I'm not saying my dad drinks, I'm not saying because if my dad drank, then I become an alcoholic. No, I have to again change that environment. This again also, and that's why we are told your mastermind group has to be, these are the people who need to be with you bumper to bumper. So if you're going to do how you find yourself again being put in position. Number 8, procrastination, which I am sure all of us on this call suffer from. How many times do we even say, hey, Lido has sent a video for her intraday, but I'll watch it tomorrow, I'm so tired. Or hey, I'm supposed to follow up on a prospect. Mazemi, I'm so tired. How many times do we that, and then we end up not doing what we are supposed to do, postponing things? And remember, postponing things just makes our to-do list longer. So again, you have to, again, don't miss opportunities because you're waiting for the right time. There'll never be a right time. There'll never be a right time to make that phone call, that prospect. If you think about it, do it now. If you want to learn about the harmonic scanner, don't say, Apana, I'll wait when Manikinones is live, that's the time I'm going to. No. When you think about it, do it, okay? Number 9, lack of persistence. Most of us are very good starters, but don't finish. Case example, and we keep saying, Lilo and I think, are the oldest in this organization plus BK. My goodness, we started when we were so many. But the faces for me, I still have familiar, Big and Lilo, because some people, of course, said, you know what? This is not for me. I'm tired. I don't want to do it. So it doesn't mean if you start, you're going to finish. So lack of persistence, again, is also one of those major things that cause major failure in leadership. Number 10, negative personality. there is no hope of success for the person who repels people through a negative personality. Again, this is something I have learned over time with Uncle Megu. Please, anyone on this call, please try and interact with Uncle Megu. It could be on a phone call. He's very accessible. Uncle Megu is the kind of person that negative thoughts, I don't even think they even know how his brain looks, because it's out, putting earphones, putting everything out there. I don't want to hear it. And I keep giving a case example. Sometimes I think this year we're in Mombasa, and we're of course doing prospecting, and there was a lady who was so negative, and she sent me a very disturbing message. So I asked my uncle, can I send you that message? No, delete it. He even didn't look at it. Why? Because once you entertain negative thoughts, they live in you. And it is so hard. And I think if you have a negative thought, I think you have to introduce 7 or 10 positive to cancel out the negative. So you'd be working overtime. So with time, I have also realized, repel negative thoughts. Kabisa, even if somebody is saying Forex is not working, talk it out. Okay, it's not working for you, for me it's working. So basically those are the first 10. I will bring in my business partner, Miss Lillian Okada, to take us through the other presentation, and I'm sure she will do a fabulous job. So karibu sana Lilo, and just a brief introduction about Lillian for those of us who don't know. I know Sharon is the newest member, and we have Ray and Celine. No, Celine is a member. So just a brief introduction. Of course, we know Lilo, but Lilo, for me, I met her in November 2018, and she's become my business partner, one of my best friends. We speak every day. She's part of my mastermind group for sure, keeping me on check. Okay, Lilo is a profession. She's a mom to a lovely 6-year-old, which in fact we have adopted her. She's now also our daughter. And of course, like you all know, she's a business owner. And Lilo is so competitive by nature. And that's her. So you just, when you hang out with her, my goodness, you have to keep your antennas like up here, because you'll find that she went. So that's why for me, she compliments me. I'm always trying to be a better person in her presence. So welcome very much, Lillian, or Miss Okado.
Whoa. Very nice, very nice. I hope when you're saying I'm very competitive, you're not making reference to the mountain when I left you behind. So thank you very much, Shiro. Guys, let's just give some fire emojis to Shiro. I think she's done an amazing job to just cover the first 10, reasons why most people fail. So just let's put some fire emojis in the chat box for Shiro, some fire emojis. Yeah. So basically, like, I'll just move on to the next point, because she's got to number 10. So I'm going to get to number 11. And number 11 says, so the 11th reason why people fail is lack of controlled sexual desire. And guys, lack of controlled sexual urge. And sometimes this is usually a topic people don't like talking about, but I just want to give an example. There's a guy called, what's his name? He's an American guy. He's called Sumner Redstone. He died at 97 sometime this week. And he was I don't know if you ever heard about it. It's called Sumner Redstone. But if you've heard of the companies CBS, Viacom, if you've heard of companies, if you've heard of the movie theater, the drive-ins, he's the reason why people started watching videos via the driving into the theater and so on. So he built a huge empire, huge media companies. And in his career, there was a season in his life where he almost lost everything, okay? And this, and not because of his sexual urges, but also because of, partnering with the wrong person, So this is one of the failures, the reasons why people fail, because they are unable to control their sexual energy. And you guys know that sexual energy is actually very good if you put it in the right, if you channel it in the right way. It's something that can really get you to really succeed in other areas of life, just because of the kind of energy it gives you. And it's one of actually the most powerful energies out there. Then we have the next point, which is uncontrollable desire for something for nothing. Yeah. And this kind of refers to gambling, so to speak. Yeah, you want something for nothing. So think about it. Even in our industry, it happens a lot. Forex is very attractive. It has attracted both the very, very unscrupulous people, okay, who want to get rich quick, or just normal people who also just want to get rich quick because of their circumstances. However, you cannot get wealthy, okay, within a short period of time, okay, just because you desire it. You can't get it for nothing. You have to put in the effort. And in our businesses right now, even as we build our business in Forex, as we build our skill, as we educate ourselves in the academy, guys, you can be able to tell the people who actually plug into the academy, the people who actually are learning how to trade, and the ones who are just there, they're just joyriders. They're the ones who are just there seated, waiting for, you know, everybody else to tell them what to do in the markets and everything, because they're just not, you know, they know that, yes, we give trade ideas, or they know, yes, the master educators will give you trade ideas and everything. However, they're not putting effort themselves. And so you'll find that their journey is very, very long. I always give an example of Koi. Koi is someone who I introduced into the academy literally 2 or 3 months ago. I think it's 2 months ago. And Koi is now an amazing, amazing trader. But guess what? Yeah, there have been people who joined last year who cannot trade anywhere close to Koi. Not because Koi is phenomenal, extraordinary kind of human being. Yes, she is. But everyone else has the same ability to succeed in life. But then sometimes we just don't apply ourselves. So that's another reason why people fail, because most of us, we have this uncontrolled desire to gamble. We are like the people in the casinos. We just want to get rich quick. So that's what Napoleon says is something that we shouldn't be doing. Then there's also the lack of a well-defined power of decision. Now this is very key, and I'll say this in this sense, yeah. The people who succeed in life are the ones who make their decisions very quickly, but change their minds slowly. The people who fail are the ones who keep on making their decisions very slowly. They take very long to make a decision, and then they are very quick to change their minds at the same time. So you don't want to be in the latter category. You want to be decisive. Even if you think you're not making a right decision, but you've made the decision, okay? I always used to say that, you know, a lack of decision is worse than a bad decision. I mean, I firmly believe that sometimes you have to make the wrong decisions quickly, okay, so that you can get through making the wrong decisions until you arrive at the right decisions. So don't be overly cautious when it comes to your decision making. And then another thing is, he talks about one or more of the 6 basic fears, and the 6 basic fears are basically, most of us, we can agree, we fear poverty. I am one of those people who has always been like, I am afraid of being poor. and that could explain to you guys why, yes, I'm very competitive, yes, I work very hard, I'm very aggressive, because I'm just afraid of lack of luck, yeah. But that is also a problem, you know, when you have and too much fear in poverty and everything, you attract it. Then the fear of criticism. Some of us are afraid to be told the truth, or when we are told the truth about ourselves, we get upset, we take it personally. So you need to just stop being very, what's the word? Taking everything personally, like being too, you know, sensitive. That's also part of it, because in this business, it's hardcore. And I'm not saying hardcore in the sense that it's rough and tough. No, it's one of those things that will test you. It will test your limits. When you're in the markets and a trade goes the wrong way, you'll have to decide whether you're coming back tomorrow to get into the market again. When you talk to a prospect out there about our business and they tell you it's a pyramid scheme, or it's whatever it is, it's a negative thing, will you come back tomorrow and say yes? Or you will just ignore that criticism, as Shiro just mentioned, that, you know, sometimes you have to block your mind, like what Uncle Migwi does. Block your mind, listen to positive things, so that you don't have that fear of criticism. Because guys, criticism directed in the right channel ends up being phenomenal for you in your success. Then we also fear ill health, you know. So sometimes you're like, okay, when you're unwell, how do you behave when you're unwell? We have another fear is loss of love. Another fear is old age. How many of us can agree that we fear old age? I don't know about you, but for me, for the longest time, I'm like, I'm young until I die, you know. But there's that fear, and sometimes that fear, when it's too much, when it's obsessive, can literally limit your potential in terms of you getting to your goals. And then, of course, there's the fear of death. So all of us are going to die. So why are we fearing death? So these are the things that keep us from progressing, because fear, guys, is a killer. It kills dreams. It stops people from getting started with the academy, from getting started learning how to trade, because they're afraid they'll lose money, and so on and so forth. So that's it. Then we have Wrong selection of a mate in marriage, I mentioned that. Over caution, I've kind of mentioned that sometimes we always say the people who are overly cautious, guess what? Those people usually eat the crumbs of the people who were just, they just are risk takers. So overcautious is the opposite of someone who's a risk taker. Yes, sometimes we get into risks that are not necessarily the best, but how will you learn, guys, that something is not the best if you don't take that risk? So I'm really excited you guys are on this call, because it means that at some point in your lifetime, this year or last year, whenever you joined the academy, you made the decision, you took the risk to say, you know what, I don't know if this thing is real, but you know what, I'm going to just plug in and see. Okay, you're better off than the one who's waiting to catch the crumbs. And think about it this way. It's the way you hear about something and then you decide you want to join 6 months later. 6 months later, things have already moved on, people are making money, and yet you heard about the idea in the beginning. The same thing with, let's say, building your business, okay? Some people are afraid to talk to people, to other people about whatever it is they do. And they're like, okay, let me first learn what is in the academy, okay? And then after I have learned is when I will talk to people. Yes, but the thing is, being too cautious because you're not sure 100%, you will never be sure about everything. There'll always be doubt. Even when you talk about Christianity and religion, people still doubt that Jesus exists. Or even if they do, we still doubt in some form or manner when it comes to our belief. So that is there. But guys, you can't let that hold you back. Then we have the superstition and prejudice. I mean, sometimes we're very superstitious. We are very prejudiced about things. We don't necessarily, we judge a lot, yeah, and those are the things that keep you away also from, let's say, getting to know somebody, getting to know more about a new idea, getting to know about things that you need to know, but because of your prejudice against people, against information, against learning new things, there are some people who are like, oh, by the way, I am very happy with the information I have in life and I don't need more. Sometimes, again, that's just based off fear, or you're thinking the more money, like the way there's a whole superstition that we grew up with when we were growing up, about money, that kept many of us away from, just learning more about money and wealth, because it was almost like if you talk about money, it's like a taboo, it's like you're boasting, it's like you're greedy, it's like a negative thing. Yet we realize some of those things, and these are things I've learned in business, that sometimes all those things that were being taught, which have been reinforced by our education system, by religion, and so on. And guys, I'm not saying that education and religion is wrong. First of all, let me just claim I am a believer, I love God, but sometimes you find that these institutions, our family, our parents, they're the ones which ingrain a lot of negative things about our association with money. So you find a lot of people, when they hear that, for example, like our company says, once you get to certain levels within our business, you can literally be making millions a month. But I know for sure there's some people on this call who still don't believe that they can be millionaires. Yes, they say it, but then because of that conditioning from the past, we don't really believe that we can actually be millionaires. We actually think it's only the great people, the Jason Browns, the Alex Mortons, the David Dimonites, the Matthew Thayers, the traders who, Matthew Thayer the other day, was it yesterday or the day before? He's an HFX trader, for those who don't know him, and he literally hit $2 million. He's just traded for like 2 years or 2.5 years thereabouts, and he's now making $2 million. How? And some people must have joined the academy when he joined, when he knew nothing about HFX, and are still wondering, does this thing work? So that's basically it. Then of course, sometimes we also fail because we choose the wrong vocation, and that also brings another point. Maybe Forex is not for you, and that's okay. I mean, sometimes it's also good to just say, okay, it's not for you. But at the same time, is it really not for you, or is it something that you've told yourself? And maybe right now where you are, you guys, you don't even know, maybe you've been in the wrong industry, and now this is just an opportunity for you to just test if this industry will work for you. Just all I'll say is go all out, okay? Use all your effort to actually just ensure that you succeed here. Then we have the lack of concentration of effort, meaning that you don't really put in all the energy that you require in, you don't concentrate on what you're doing. Like, for example, even with our learning and our education every single day, you can go into the academy. It can get very overwhelming, especially if you're a new person. I'm just talking also to the new people on the call. You've just gotten started. I can tell you for sure, once you get there, there's so much amazing information. And you guys know when there's information overload, even if the content is brilliant, you get intimidated. So sometimes that can also cause people to fail and give up on their vocations. Then something else is, so that's, wait, I was on number, yes. Now the next one is, now the 21 is habit of indiscriminate spending. As we are building our wealth and everything with this, on this journey of Forex and network marketing, I just want to pose a question to you guys. Are you making a plan of how your money is coming in? The other day, I did a training on trading the plan and planning the trade, you know, and I also talked about the fact that in part of your trading plan, you should have a plan for the money that you're going to earn in Forex. Why, guys? Because with Forex, you can earn a lot of income. And the thing is, you can be withdrawing from your Forex account every single day if you want to. Now, think about it. The more you keep on withdrawing, sometimes it's very easy to spend that money indiscriminately on things, like something comes up and you've already allocated it. But that would be poor planning, because it means that in a couple of years, you'll probably be in the same situation, making money, but there's nothing to show for it because you've not planned for your spending. So this is very key. And for me, this is very personal, because at a point in my life, in my career, I had made a lot of income, but I never ever thought that I would ever reach a point of rock bottom where I have no money. It was not in my mind, because I was very comfortable financially. But that's the thing, my expenditure when I was younger was probably not the best. I didn't make plans for the future financially that was sufficient to sustain me in a dry season. So this is very key as well. Another thing is lack of enthusiasm. Are you enthusiastic about what you do? You know, and this brings me to something. You know, this specific chapter. And I remember yesterday we were talking with Uncle Mig when we were asking him. This chapter sounds like it when you read it, because some things we've not necessarily gone through in detail. But when you read it, it sounds more like a chapter for people who are employed, you know, or people who want a job, because it talks a lot about how you should prepare yourself for employment. I mean, how you should prepare for yourself for employment and things like that once you decide you want to get a job. So Napoleon Hill was not against employment. He was against mediocrity. And which brings me to the reason why I talked about the whole, what was my train of thought there? I've even forgotten. Basically, okay, so my point is, the thing about the chapter is it talks about employment, yeah? And you can miss the point because you can think that because I'm not employed, it's not relevant to me. But when I read that chapter again, slowly, just took my time and I went through it, I realized this chapter is about excellence. Okay, because when Napoleon is talking about the way you should prepare your resume, the way you should prepare yourself for an interview, I thought about it from my context as an entrepreneur, as a Forex trader, as somebody who goes out and talks about the academy. How prepared am I? How do I present? Like when I'm doing a presentation on Zoom, how is my enthusiasm on that Zoom? When I'm doing a presentation on one-on-one, how is my enthusiasm? How do I present myself? And then even physically, when you meet somebody, how do you show up? Do you show up when you're dressed nicely? Because of course Napoleon focuses on that that you should always, you know, appear like you're dressed nicely, have your CV bound, and I don't know, all those things that sometimes you think that's a lot of work. But I think what he's driving at is if you really want what it is you want. And there's a comment he says, a phrase he says in the book, that it's not a job you're looking for, it's a career. So it's the same thing here, guys. When you go to represent IM Academy out there, or when you go to talk about Forex, do you look like Forex? There's somebody on this call, I think Dorcas. Every time Dorcas comes on her 4 p.m. Zooms, I'm usually so excited because once I see her picture on the screen and she looks phenomenal. Of course, you look like, oh my God, this woman is making some serious money in Forex. And it can also make people feel, okay, so this actually works. So this may be something that you may not think about, but preparation in everything you do in your career, in your business, in your family life, in your personal relations is important. Excellent. So one thing I want to take away from that is the excellence. Then we have inability to cooperate with others. If you're not cooperative, we've talked about it through the whole entire book till now. I mean, if you're not able to agree with people, you know, we always say there is power in agreement. If you're always, people are going like this, you're going like that. I'll give you an example. That mountain trip, let me tell you, I was going to back out totally. I have no, yani, now I can say it because I've already done the mountain climb, I'm happy. But I have not literally exercised in a very long time. Like maybe a year. Like maybe I've tried to do 1 sit-up or 2 sit-up, then I'm like, I can't do this anymore. And then I sit a lot because of the kind of work I do, okay? Because we are on our laptops all the time. So morning till evening, we are just seated. So I knew that I was very, very unfit, extremely. Other than the health in terms of my diet, because I'm very conscious about my diet, extremely there, I can't even say. But when it comes to exercise, and for me in my head, I remember having nightmares before the climb. Literally, I'm going to bed, I wake up and I had a nightmare about either falling in the mountain or leaving being the, it was just crazy. So the thing is, it's also when I think about it, I just want to laugh because I realized that I had to cooperate with my team. That morning, on Friday morning, I was almost texting Shiro and Uncle Migui and telling them, by the way, I won't show up. Something has come up. And then I asked myself, why am I lying? And that was also something that stopped me from saying, because if I hadn't thought about it, I would have probably sent that SMS. And I realized I just had fear. That fear was going to stop me from realizing that I can actually conquer the mountain. And truth be told, I went to the mountain and we made it. Like, I can't believe it, guys. I made it, I was even talking to another group that I'm in, we do this whole alkaline lifestyle. And I was sharing with them and tell them probably it's what I've been eating and everything that has really given me the energy I need and stuff. But guys, let me tell you, I would have easily let down the team just not being there, because I, being a leader, just imagine if Shiro said she was not going to go up the mountain or she was not going to finish the mountain, we would have probably slept on the, on the mountain. But and I don't want to belabor that point, but for me it really came out. Then another thing is intentional dishonesty. Intentional, like I was about to lie about the mountain, going to the mountain, that I have problems, that I can't appear. And we shouldn't be in that space of where we feel like small white lies are okay, because those are the things, like when you're doing a presentation to somebody and you tell them, by the way, you'll be rich in a month. For me personally, I am very clear on how I represent our academy and how I represent the industry, because I know this is not a get rich quick scheme. The minute you tell somebody lies and tell them that you're going to be a successful millionaire trading in a month or 2 months, you're lying. That's intentional dishonesty, whether you know it or not. Then we have egotism and vanity. We all know what that means. We have guessing instead of thinking. Like, we never think. Like, one of my biggest problems for a very long time, for very, very long time, even before I joined IM Academy, is the fact that I feel like a lot of people don't think. A lot of people do not apply their minds. And I know that it's because thinking is a very hard thing to do. It's the same way when somebody says it's a pyramid scheme. Usually they say it's a pyramid scheme when they don't understand what we do, or they've heard somebody else. So someone says Forex is not real. The reason most people say Forex is not real is because they saw somebody else failing at it, and they assumed. It's like saying the real estate market is not real, or saying the stock market is not real, or saying marriage is not real. Just because a marriage failed doesn't mean that marriages don't work, and so on and so forth. And sometimes I'm like, it's because we don't apply our mind. We are so lazy. We'd rather get information from other people. And this is one big thing that Napoleon Hill always talks about. When you listen to all his books, there's a book called Outwitting the Devil. If you guys can get a hold of that book, it will show you the way we have been conditioned to not think. And that's why it's so easy for political leaders to come in and just do what they want to do with us and make us go their way, and we never ever stop ourselves because we are unable. We actually don't know how to think. So this is one thing that you need to begin to think about. Even your business, are you just doing it because Shiro says it's good? Are you doing it because Uncle Migu is making money, or Asifa withdrew money from the market? Or are you doing it because you have actually analyzed and seen that this industry is actually real and you can actually succeed at it? And then, of course, another reason people don't fail is because of lack of capital. That one is self-explanatory. So as I wrap up, I just want to say this, guys. Most of us go through life as failures, okay? Because we are waiting for the time to be right, to start doing something worthwhile. In our industry, something worthwhile is basically just making a difference. Let me just tell you that. It's not rocket science, okay? Some of us are afraid to talk to people. Some of us are afraid to step in front of the line. One thing that has always helped me, and this is just something I can add, I can maybe give you guys as advice, is that be the one to step in front of the line all the time. Be the one to say yes to everything. Like if somebody says, I need you to do a presentation. I need you to, what else do we do in our business? I need you to do a training. Be the person who says yes. Don't be the person who says no. Why? Because you're just holding yourself back. You're just slowing your journey to the top of the mountain and back down if you need to go back down. So don't wait for the time to be right. I know sometimes even in our own business, we're like, I'll just wait, you know, I'll wait another 2, 3, 4, 5 months before now I show people how I trade. Why? Because you're afraid of criticism. Remember, that's one fear, which is part of the reasons why people fail. You're afraid for someone to tell you no, or if you know how to trade and you can give trade ideas like I do, you don't want to because you're afraid somebody will say, I lost money. You know, you're afraid of that feeling of shame that maybe comes when, you know, you give a trade and somebody loses money. Don't let fear hold you back. And don't wait for the time to be right. You'll never be the best educator. You'll never be the best network marketer waiting for the right time. It starts now. It starts in your mind, and that's why we have these conversations all the time. And then he says, do not wait. The time will never be just right. Start where you stand and work with whatever tools you may have at your command, and better tools will be found as you go along. Men, then, of course, I repeat, men who succeed, they reach their decisions promptly and they change their minds infrequently and so on. Then men who fail reach decisions, if at all, yeah, okay, I've said that one. Then indecision and procrastination, yeah, so this one, Shira has also touched on it. Procrastination, those are pairs. Indecision, they're twins rather. Indecision and procrastination. Those two things, guys, if you can get rid of them, meaning that you keep on saying tomorrow, I will call that person tomorrow, I will, you know, talk to Uncle Migwi tomorrow, I will talk to, you know, I will write my goals tomorrow, I don't have time because my baby is here running around, so I will handle what I need to handle today, tomorrow. Procrastination is the same thing. Like today I was thinking about it and I was like, I've had all these ideas in my lifetime. The ones I've implemented are not many. Why? Because of fear and procrastination, because of indecision, because of, you know, just not being decisive, not just saying I want to do this and going with it. So that's one thing. Then if you kill, and Napoleon says, if you kill off this pair completely, you know, he says, kill off this pair before they completely tie you to the treadmill of failure. Then, of course, he mentions again enthusiasm as being contagious, and everybody needs to have it. He also talks about power in the hands of one who did not acquire it gradually. Yes, so he also mentioned something which I think is very personal to me as well, is, you know, achieving success quickly. Sometimes we're in a hurry to make money. And sometimes we see our peers, even in the job setting. I remember, you know, guys who just rise up the ranks, they are driving nice cars and everything and stuff, and they look like they're living their life. But Napoleon cautions and he says, you know what? Acquiring power or success is not, or is not necessarily, acquiring it quickly is not necessarily always the best thing. And the reason being, sometimes you're not ready for it. So if you're not where you need to be, it's probably because you're not ready. So the question is, what can you do to become ready? Okay. And some of the things is like coming on these calls right now. So guys, I think I want to end there. I don't want to really belabor these points. Okay. But I can say this for sure. The reason why we are here every Thursday, and I keep on repeating it, is because we want to grow. It's because we are aspiring for wealth and success, and we want to stop looking up at people out there who are wealthy and successful. We also want to be the ones who are wealthy and successful, and people can look up to us. So that is what our focus should be. We need to start making decisions today. Some of you are not doing what you need to do. Some of you are still doing the same thing you've been doing since you joined IAM Academy. Okay, maybe yes, you're making some money trading, but I know deep down you can pinpoint something that you were supposed to do that you haven't done. If you haven't yet called the people who need to be called and told about this industry, just know you're standing between someone else's success. Okay, you could easily get on board somebody who is going to be the next David Monite, but there you are seated afraid to look at your phone and say, hey, have you heard about Forex? Have you heard about this industry that's a 6.6 trillion industry? What are you going to do today? You know, like, don't be that person. Don't be that person that you find that somebody comes in. I remember when Uncle Migwi joined a company, I was extremely challenged because I had been there for, I think, a year, and I was at the same level. He came in a month and he reached my level. You understand where I am, my platinum 2000 rank. So I was very challenged. I was like, oh my God, who is this person? What is he doing that is different? And that's why we keep on mentioning him. Go to him, ask him, be around him. build your mindset so that you can believe even more that this is possible. So thank you guys. That brings me to the end of our call this evening, Forex and Heels edition mentorship call. Really appreciate all of you for being here. I really appreciate my business partner Shiro, who even when we have come from the mountain and we are tired, she'll be like, okay, we still need to know, we have a lesson coming up, we still need to do this call, we still need to read and whatnot. So next week we hope to give you more value and information as you complete the book. We are almost done, and then we'll start a new book hopefully in the new month. So thank you very much, and do have a lovely evening.